Okay, wonderful. Hello.
Oh, nervous now that says recording started. Hello.
um, welcome back to another episode of COAG Conversations. We haven't had one of these since we last, it was NAIDOC week with Ruby Red. We had her on. She's a fantastic creator in the community. Love her work. Love to see it. And today, usually it's the opposite way round. Usually I meet someone online and then I meet them in real life and then they'll come on here. But this time
We've
around,
done an Uno reverse.
we did. I met Sarah Wolfe at South by Southwest and she has graciously agreed to come on and have a chat with me today, which I'm so excited about. So welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I've been so excited for this all week.
If you are listening on Spotify, please do head over to our YouTube channel because Sarah is just looking so amazingly cute. I can't do that. How do you do it?
It took me a long time. Yeah, that's
How do I straight this finger? This is the new love heart. I didn't know.
Not watching on YouTube, you get no reference for this. Sorry, you'll just have to go and watch the video.
Yeah, this is what I'm saying. You need to come and you need to see us do awkward
middle fingers straight together, and then curve inwards, I guess. I don't know. I also have double jointed fingers. Maybe that's helping me. Yeah, it's close. It's better. I like that. You know what? I like it more. This guy's just not doing the thing. Anyway.
I can't. Yeah, no, nothing makes me feel more aged than the new love heart, to be honest. Because I'm used to this.
Oh, that. What was this?
Yeah.
I don't know what this was. This was somewhere in between. I don't know.
Look, I can do
a
this.
Very tiny love heart.
Can we do this?
Oh yeah, that's cute. I like that one.
I'll do this. Okay.
Be a thumbnail.
Yeah, fantastic. Sarah Wolfe, welcome to COAG Conversations. It's a pleasure to have you. Please tell everyone who you are, what you do, and where to find you.
Okay. Oh gosh, whenever someone's like, "Who are you?" I'm like, I'm nothing. I've never done anything in my life.
Look, where do I begin? Come on, brain. It began in my childhood.
My name's Sarah Wolfe. I am a musician, artist, as well as working at League of Geeks as the community content manager. So trying to combine my love of gaming and music together into one. And I'm also have some fun chronic health conditions, which I guess is kind of what this is about today as well. Usually I don't introduce myself with my health conditions, but you know, if we're going to chat about them.
Shout outs
to my sick girlies. This one's for you.
This one is for you. This week we it's kind of I kind of find it difficult to put the word celebrate, but I think it's more celebrating the work people are doing to help fund research to help make people's lives better who have these conditions. Specifically, Confessions of a Gamer Girl will be working with the Breast Cancer Foundation to raise some money. And if we meet our goal, we're going to do a little stream. I know. I'm very excited for this. Lishi doesn't normally play online games. Ellie and we're here for it. Okay, we love to jump in with a little team. Yeah. We're probably going to do a little bit of Fortnite probably, and I cannot wait. Good luck. Thank you. We're going to need it. I'm hoping Ellie can just carry, but we'll see. We'll see. We have to get to our donation amount first. So yeah. This, as I said, this week we're commemorating all the work that people are doing within this industry. I do want to highlight the work that Sarah is doing, and then we will kind of go into what she's also dealing with at the same time, which I think will just be like, oh my God, she's amazing.
I'm going all red now.
Oh,
sorry, I get embarrassed when people talk about me, which is the worst thing to be possibly happening because we're on a podcast talking about me. So anyway, sorry, carry on.
Look, everything is very pink, so
exactly, it'll mask.
It's kind of the vibe. It's okay. So Sarah, what has been some projects that you've been working on recently?
Yes, so at League of Geeks, we're working on 2 games at the moment for fun. Not for fun, obviously. Well, for fun and for work, but 2 games at once is a very fun activity. But it's one of them's called Jump Light Odyssey, which is I'm repping one of the shirts at the moment.
It
So it's
looks
like
so good.
it is so cute, right?
Yeah.
It's a like space sim where you're the captain of your ship. You play as Princess Euphora, and you're trying to escape the evil Zootopans, and you're on your spaceship, and you're building things. You're looking after your crew. You're hoping they don't burn things down. You know, keeping them happy, keeping them fed, collecting them resources. So that is like that. We've got space covered, and we're also working on a game called Solemn Infernum, which is like a political grand strategy game set in hell. It's asynchronous. It's very cool. The art style is beautiful. So yeah, we've got hell covered and we've got space covered, and nothing in between. But you know, top and bottom.
Well,
so that's
we are
work.
the in between.
Yeah, that's where we live, in the in between. Canonically, these places exist in our world too. You know what I mean? In my mind, that sentence didn't make a lot of sense. You know what I meant.
Well, Solium Infernum actually received their People's Choice Awards at South by Southwest.
It did. I was very happy because I also did a little performance for Solium Infernum from the artist side. I combined work. I felt like it was like a less cool Hannah Montana moment, you know, because I've like got like my musician person and then like work me, and they're the same person obviously, but like 2 different vibes. And then I was like, whoop, here we are together, and everyone at my work is seeing me do my little razzle dazzle performance. So, but it was fun. Little
razzle dazzle. I love a bit of razzle dazzle. Speaking of razzle dazzle, I have got an image that I'll put up. Because it just like, here we go. There she is.
That was with Michael Allen. Shout out to Michael Allen. He's the composer for the soundtrack for Solemn Infernum. He's amazing, and I created and wrote the song using samples from his work. And it was produced with Xavier Dunn. Shout out to Xavier Dunn as well. But yeah, so that was the song was a mix of samples from the original soundtrack plus, you know, the song that I wrote with it. And we got to perform it together, which was insane.
Yeah, it was incredible. I love how we're seeing a lot more of the music and seeing it being played live and seeing it, you know, with gameplay and the people that are, you know, obviously, you know, composing it and, you know, singing. And we've seen, like, I suppose probably one of the most like popular mainstream kind of activations of this would be, you know, Halsey with Diablo 4, you know, creating a song, you know, specifically for it. But I think there's just something so special about seeing the people that have made these songs and knowing how much they're invested in it, and you can really see their passion as well.
Yeah, I think the like blending, I mean, games kind of covers off some of like the widest part of creativity that you can think of. Like, you're covering music, you're covering art, you're covering like even film. Like, it just is bringing together all the different art forms, and I think it's great that those like communities are starting to work a bit closer together to like build each other up at the same time. I'm very excited about like the more combination of music and gaming that's happening at the moment. More combination was a silly sentence to say. Sorry, that didn't make sense. But you know what I meant.
No, definitely.
Waiting for my ADHD meds to kick in.
What time is it?
It's 1:30. Yeah, I should have kicked you right off.
So obviously 2 games that's keeping you quite busy. And obviously you're part of the content team. So what kind of jobs does that involve outside of, you know, producing the games, obviously?
Yeah, so I'm part of the like community like / publishing / marketing kind of team. So more of like the like outward facing stuff. So I am my technical role is community content manager. So I'm in charge of all of the like video editing and little graphic design bits and social media content things, and I get to edit a lot of like the trailers that we do for Jump Light Odyssey and Solemn Infernum, as well as like little TikToks. Like, it's a nice like blend of like serious stuff and like fun content, memes, you name it. Like, it keeps me like on my toes, which is good because I like jobs where it's kind of like a jack of all trades type thing. I think maybe because of the ADHD, like I mentioned, I like to
Yeah.
video edit one day and like do social media stuff the next day. Like it's fun to be able to have a job that I can wear a couple of hats, if that makes sense.
Yeah, for sure. We talk a lot about the different career paths and roles in gaming that's, beyond either just, streaming or, obviously like game development, right?
Yeah.
And there are so many other like I suppose you call them like soft skill roles or like roles around that assist gaming. And obviously one of them is community management. And I think you actually highlight a really interesting point about how something that could be seen as a downfall of someone, or like a disability, being neurodivergent, having ADHD, like knowing that literally you thrive with varied environments where you can be creative is actually something that you love. Whereas someone who is, very kind of, I have to do everything, 100%, I have to concentrate on one thing at one time. I can't move from different tasks. Like that would actually be very difficult for someone with that personality. So definitely I think that, and it takes time to kind of understand your strengths as a person, like as you grow up.
And be comfortable,
Yeah.
advocating for your needs too. It took me a while to understand exactly, like you said, the kind of workplace that I would need to work in. And I feel very lucky because a lot of the team at League of Geeks are very neurodiverse, and a lot of us have, ADHD and the TIS and, various things. And so it's nice and comfortable to be in a space where I can feel like I can be myself. And then that has meant that my work's so much better than it ever could have been. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, definitely. And this is going down like kind of a different path, but I'm just going to go with it. I dare say, like, if we take gaming and the creation of games as a creative field, back in the day, creatives were always seen as kind of crazy or like, not normal, I suppose. Now we have like lovely names for things and like medication if you need it so that you can function with the
and
capitalist
hopefully
system
string a
that we
sentence
live in.
together like I'm trying to do. Yep.
So I dare say that honestly, I honestly, I don't think anyone who out there who is dealing with something like this, I don't think that is something to be ashamed of. And you're living your best life. Like, look at you. Like,
it's such a skill. It's such a it's strange to me that we've like separated people with like people who are neurotypical, people who are neurodivergent, because I'm like, we can all work together so beautifully and we have different skills for a reason. Like that's it wasn't, a mistake that we all ended up with different type of brains. Like it was good. It means that we can all have fun, different ideas and
for sure
figure different things out. And that's great. Like,
oh, definitely. And I think, and regardless of diagnosis or anything like that, like we all bring something so unique. And the more that we can be accepting of ourselves in our life, the more likely we are going to really shine in those moments, because we're not going to kind of like dim ourselves or like try and like fit in with how another person wants us to be. And I'm not saying like you should be rude to anyone or anything like that. Like if you're not hurting anyone, that's fine. But like, yeah, I can definitely see how it's just good, all right? It's just good. It's just good. And love your neighbor or something like that.
And I think my like favorite thing that I'm trying to learn for myself is like let people enjoy things, and I need to let myself enjoy the things that I enjoy. You know,
yes,
nothing's lame, nothing's not cool. Like unless you're like hurting someone, like you said, just enjoy what you like to enjoy. Be kind to yourself. I don't know.
Yeah, for sure.
But
I will say, I will say that the game, like, probably, like, despite the press, on the level of, like toxic masculinity and like, Call of Duty conversations and just that kind of stuff. I think generally my experience in the gaming community has been really accepting. And when I
Same.
say like IRL, like all the events that I've been to, like there's just nothing like it.
Yeah, I think I worked up in the music industry up until this year, at like record labels and stuff, and so that was the world I was in beforehand, and that was fine. Like music's fine, but coming into gaming, there's definitely, I mean, this at least the space I'm in, like you said, like I feel like I've been lucky to be in a space where everyone's very positive and accepting, and everyone's just a bit more free to do what they want to do, if that makes sense. Like everyone I work with, I think I kind of chatted to you about this, has cool hobbies, and I've always loved that about a person that has a hobby that they're really passionate about, because I'm like, I just love people that are so like interested in things, like, and passionate about stuff and life and things. So that's definitely like the biggest positive that I found working in gaming, is that everyone's just really passionate about things, and I think that that's a beautiful trait to have.
Do you have any different kind of hobbies?
Me, I have lots. There's a rotating list of hobbies, obviously, because ADHD, like I said. I dabble in embroidery every now and then.
Oh,
I like to knit.
Love that.
I became very obsessed with like doing jigsaw puzzles for a while. Not even in COVID. I missed the COVID jigsaw puzzle boom. It was actually after. And to the point where I decided that I wanted to join. I was like, can I do puzzles for a living? And the internet was like, no, you can't do puzzles for a living. Like, this is so stupid. But then I found like just sit and do puzzles. I was like, will someone just let me do puzzles for a living? And they were like, no, but you can do. There was a speed puzzle competition.
Oh.
And so I was like, bet I'm going to join the New South Wales competition. So I did. And then we went to like, it was like a big hall in Marrickville in Sydney. And it was like, do you remember when you did your exams in high school and there was like the big table set up and it was all very serious, and there was like one person there, like it was like that spread out in the hall, and there was like 200 or so people who came in, and it was the same puzzle for everyone, but it was in a like brown bag so no one could see before you started the timer for the puzzle competition. And then we all sat down. It was very serious. I was like, oh god, what have I done? By the time it came around to, I was kind of over the whole puzzle thing, but I was like, I've signed up for it, I've got to go. And so I sat down and I was very nervous, and then they were like, okay, everybody reveal your puzzles. And then we took them all out, and then we had to sit there and everyone in silence we had like a 2 or 3 hour limit for like a 500 piece puzzle. And I think I finished it in like an hour and 30 minutes or something like that. Wow. So I was in like the top 25% of speed puzzling. You know what I mean? So not to brag, but brag. I can do a puzzle pretty fast.
That is a Twitter bio if I ever heard one.
Anyway, so what was the question? What are my hobbies? Yeah, they change. I haven't done a puzzle since, to be honest. Maybe I burnt myself out on puzzling, but my passion is many little things. You know what I mean? Like sometimes it'll be clay or embroidery or knitting or puzzling, whatever takes my fancy.
You know what? I have a nearly 7-year-old and a 4-year-old, and you know what? I'm down for the chaos of, hey, let's do this thing. And I'm like, sure, let's do that.
Our brains love to learn new things, and I love to learn new things.
Yeah, for sure.
Good.
It definitely keeps the mind active. Honestly, I was really hoping that you'd have a ukulele and you were going to like play me a song.
Do have.
You were going to whip it out from under the desk.
Imagine that. No.
That would have been quite delightful.
No, I'm sorry. All you got was my really, really cursed puzzle story. What an L. Like, you probably like, can't wait for her to do a little performance. And I was like, here's a story about me speed puzzling. Sorry.
You know what? I adore it. Thank you very much for sharing. So yeah, projects. Your every day, what does that look like? What do you do? It's a Monday morning. What are you doing?
It's a Monday morning. I wake up at 9 because I'm a late sleeper. So bed at 1 a.m. Bed at 1 a.m. obviously, and then up at 9 a.m. because unfortunately that's the way my body clock likes to roll. But luckily for me, so does a lot of my team. So we start, like, I pop into our first meetings at 9:30. We have a little morning catch up, talk about what we're gonna do for the day.
You go into the office? You have an office, or do you do it?
I work from home.
Oh, amazing.
Because I'm in Sydney and League of Geeks is in Melbourne, so I luckily get to work from home, which is why I get to wake up at 9 a.m. and then just roll into a meeting at 9:30.
You just put a shirt on, no pants.
Literally. just tumble down the stairs, and here I am. And then we kind of just chat about what's coming up this week, like if we have any events on, or like Steam events, or any big like marketing things that we want to hit. And then talk about what content we want to do for the week. We have some time to look at some of our favorite TikTok trends. I don't know. It's a mix of things, and so I spent like pretty an even split between Jumplight Odyssey and Soul Infernum, working on social content for them, like sometimes more like serious trailer content, streaming. They have a League of Geeks Twitch account. And then when I'm done for my workday, usually I'll try and work on some music stuff for myself. Sorry, is my microphone cutting out? I think sometimes it does. Anyway, okay, cool. If I have time in the day, then I'll work on music stuff afterwards at work, or one of the little chaos hobbies that I'm in the mood for, depending. Which has gotten easier to do since I've been less sick. So I'm very grateful to be able to, have energy to do stuff.
Definitely. I'm are the games going to get puzzles? Like,
it's definitely on my top list of what I would like, because I feel the urge to puzzle coming back. That's what I mean. Like when I have a rotating list of hobbies, like they will rotate, and I think puzzling is on its way back for sure. Definitely. I will fight for a Jumplight Odyssey and a Soul Infernum puzzle if it's the last thing I do.
the puzzling community thanks you.
Yeah, you're welcome, puzzling community. I'm here for you.
So like you said, like you've only just started to feel better. What exactly is your diagnosis, and how does it affect your everyday?
Yeah. So besides, the neurodivergence of it all, physically, I was diagnosed with Ehlers-Danlos syndrome about like 3 or 4 years ago now, which is, I don't know if you've heard of it before, but it's a connective tissue disorder, which means that like all of my connective tissue of my body is very loose. So like my elbows go too far down, and everything kind of hyperextends, and my joints pop out of place all the time. So I know it like Ehlers-Danlos affects more than just like your joints and things. It affects like you have connective tissue everywhere essentially. Yeah. So like, stomach issues and general like looseness body wise, you know what I mean? So that was the first diagnosis, and then connected to Ehlers-Danlos, or you're more likely to have this next thing I'll talk about if you have an EDS diagnosis. They don't exactly know why yet, but there's like definitely a higher rate of occurrence between the two of them. I found out I have a thing called, it was called a Chiari malformation. So sorry, I pointed at my neck because that's where like the spot is. So basically it's the back of your brain starts to slip into your spinal canal. So my brain was like, it sounds pretty gross when you say it. So sorry to anyone that doesn't like kind of gross things, but essentially, so the back, I think my cerebellar tonsils were like slipping on down into my spine. And so was kind of a little bit of the brain stem was like slipping down a bit, and they were just kind of compressing each other in that little spot there. So that was leading to like my vocal cords were starting to get paralyzed, and my it was like messing a bit with my breathing, and like the headaches were insane, and various other like neurological things. I was very like anxious all the time, because that area kind of deals with some of your like autonomic nervous system. So heart rate was like always at like 120 beats per minute. I was always like at a rave, like fight or flight was always on, very stressed all the time, just like physically stressed, which I didn't realize was the reason why I was such an anxious and like restless person before surgery, until after surgery. And I was like, oh my God, this is the first time I've ever felt relaxed. So I went in to have surgery for the Chiari malformation in May of this year. And I kind of like didn't fully realize that it was like brain surgery until I got into the like place where they were about to like put you under, and there was like 10, 12 doctors in there, and I was like, this feels serious now. Oh no. And it like hit me that it was serious and then when they were like, and good night, and I was like, oh shit, okay, here we go. Sorry, I'm allowed to swear. Apologies.
Yeah, it's okay.
So went into surgery mid-May, and then spent like it takes a while to recover from brain surgery, like mentally as well as physically. Like you really need to like, there's a lot of brain fog post. So it took me a minute.
Well, they literally opened your head.
Quite literally, my brain has seen the world. It's the grossest thing is to me is like it's touched air. You know what I mean? Like,
Oh.
you know what I mean? When you think about it, where you're like,
Oh.
someone's like poked it. I don't know. They're like peekaboo.
So what did they? So do you know exactly what they did? So obviously, so
Yeah.
they
Do you want me
opened
to tell you?
the
Yeah.
yeah. I want to know.
So the scar runs from about like the top of my head here down to
Yep.
like the neck. So it's a big space that they open up, and they basically like cut into your neck muscles and stuff and everything to like
Open
put a
it.
little window in.
Yep.
And then they like drill a wider spot in your foramen magnum, I think it's called, the like where your brainstem comes out of your skull
Skull. Yeah.
to try and like widen up the space to give it more room, your brain more room to sit in there, essentially. So they widened that up. They had to cauterize the end of my brain because the tissue had died, which apparently actually doesn't affect you that much. Your brain is really
Okay.
good at like healing and
Healing. Yeah.
like if that was necessary, then it like moved it to a different spot of my brain, something like that. That's neurologists or neuroscience don't come for me, but I think that was kind of how it was explained to me. They were like, don't worry about it, you don't need it, it's already dead. So they cauterized the end of my brain to like get rid of the extra tissue that was like slipping down in there. And then they take a patch of my dura, which is like the covering over your brain, and then they essentially like make a hammock for the brain so it doesn't slip down again. So it's like being held there.
Oh,
like gently, like in a little bed. And then once they've like created more room and put the little brain hammock in, then they just stitch everything back up, staple the skin shut, and you're good to go. Well, not good to go. I mean, I was in hospital for a while, but that was basically like how the surgery went. I mean, I don't know. I was under, but I assume. And then yeah, a week in hospital, and now I'm here with a fresh brain do.
yeah.
And I did have to shave all my hair off though, which was fun.
All of it.
Yeah, I shaved all of it because my hair was like kind of up to here before, and I knew that they had to shave from basically the top of my head down to the neck, and I was like, it would look fine if you had longer hair because you can kind of put it over, but it would look a bit silly because it would be a very obvious patch. So I was like, you know what, I've always wanted to shave my head, so I shaved my head for the first time, and it was very fun. I highly recommend it to everyone. It was very freeing. I've always wanted to shave my head, like I said, and I feel like the universe was like, that now you have to. I heard you. I heard what you wanted. Here you go.
So we heard you wanted to shave your head. So we made your brain like fall into your spine. So now you have brain surgery. So now you have to shave your head. You're welcome.
You look so cute, girlfriend. Go off. Shave that little
You know
head.
what? The pixie cut is a vibe.
Thank you.
Yeah, it really does.
It's gotten quite long now.
Yeah. I like it.
Thank you. But yes, so that was a time.
That is wild. Were you scared?
Like I said, I wasn't scared because I think I was just like, I kind of like gaslit myself. I was like, it's not that deep. It's not that serious. It's just a little bit of brain surgery. It's fine. I'm really not worried about it. And then I only really started worrying about it when I got in the room because I had to have surgery like 6 years ago on my sinuses because they were like too narrow or whatever. So when I went in to do that surgery, it was just a day surgery and there was like 2 doctors there and I was like, it's fine, I'm not worried. So that was my reference point. So then going back in and being like, oh my God, there's like 12 people in this room. That's when you're like, oh, that's a bit more serious than I thought it was. And I don't know. I didn't like look into the mortality rates of it beforehand. I didn't really want to know. Which may not have been the best move because I also should have like organized some more like post-care stuff for myself because I didn't realize what was going to happen when I woke up either. Like, because you're in ICU and you've got like a drip in your vein, a drip in your artery, they have a catheter. I was like covered in wires, like a breathing tube for my nose. Like I just didn't, for some reason in my brain, I was like, I'll wake up with a drip. Like, I was like, it'll be fine. And then, it was a lot more serious. My poor partner, like I've never seen him really cry before, but as soon as I was like in the ICU and he walked in and he was like, the first thing he did was cry. And I was like, oh my God, I must look like shit. I must look like a whole mess. And he was like, no, you look fine. You look beautiful.
That is literally the default. Hey, it's like when you're ill, right? And someone is like, oh my God, are you okay? You're like, I know I look like shit. Like that's your first, I don't know why that is. That's really cringe.
I know. It's just like, it's just very confronting, I guess, to see like someone you love. Because I saw photos of myself and I was like, there's wires everywhere. I look a whole mess. Like the blood all over the pillow behind me, obviously. That had all been sliced. Like, of course, you'd walk in and be like, oh my God, like, it was overwhelming. But because I was so kind of out of it, I was like, woo. whatever.
Mm.
My mum came in later and was like feeding me like a little baby bird. I was like, oh, this is nice. And then like once you leave the ICU and they went to like regular part of the hospital, that's when I was like, oh, okay, that was real. That happened. This
Yeah.
is, yeah, it was a lot of time because your brain doesn't feel pain, but your skin does and your muscles do. And so the issue was more that like when they had to cut in through the muscles to get to my brain, like my neck issues and
Mm.
already having connective tissue disorder, like it made my neck quite unstable. And so we're just working on strengthening and building muscle back and all
Mhm.
that. So that was that. Yeah, that was it was a fun time, I guess.
Yeah, definitely. And fun. I mean, interesting
Fun, I mean,
and
interesting. Definitely
wild
an experience. Yeah, an
for
experience I
sure.
hope many people don't have to have. But I'm
Mhm.
glad that it happened because now I can feel my feet and my hands, and my vocal range has come back, and I'm much less anxious. My heart rate's come down a bit, like all positive things from it. And so it worked better than we thought it was going to work, which is good for the surgery. Because sometimes you're not really sure with this specific surgery if it's just going to if it's going to make anything better, because oftentimes it just stops the progression of getting worse. Because once you
Yeah, okay.
start to have nerve damage or nerve compression, like at a certain point, your nerves don't come back or grow back or something like that. So I'm glad that we
Mhm.
got it early enough so that we were able to stop a lot of that, like very bad nerve damage from happening. So lucky in that,
Mm.
perspective.
It's good that you
Anyway.
have a no, it's good that you have that, mentality, around it because, at the end of the day, like, when you do go through things like that, it could be worse and there could be worse outcomes.
Mm.
So yeah, and I'm really glad that you're okay.
Yeah, me too. I think
Yeah.
when you get diagnosed with things, and it happened to me first when I got diagnosed with the ADS, and then when I got diagnosed with the Chiari. And if anyone's, been diagnosed with a chronic condition or any kind of condition, like there's a grief process you kind of have to go through where at first I was like, you get very depressed. And I was really depressed for a while. And
Mm.
then I was like really angry for a while. I was like, why me? Like, why would this happen to me? What have I done to make like this like that? And then after you come through that, I'm very glad that it's happened now because I think I've always been a very open and hopefully I think I'm quite a nice kind person, but it's definitely opened my experience up because I don't look like someone that's sick, and I get that when people look at me they're like, you don't look disabled or whatever, but
Mm.
obviously I am. So that's
Yeah.
and it's made me understand that I don't know what everyone's going through. You live like they say you can't judge a book by the cover. Like it's
Mm.
very much embedded that in me where I'm like I will always try to give people as like a couple second chances, third chances. I'm like maybe it's not their best day when they meet me. If I'm like that person was kind of off, I'm like what, maybe they've got shit. Everyone's got shit going on. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
it's helped that perspective for me, and I think that's really when you go through grief, it's nice to be able to know that there was something that you at least got out of it. And so that's definitely what I got out of it, is that it's made me into a more understanding person, I think, for other people's experiences too.
Yeah. And definitely if you can become a better person from your experiences, I mean, I hope everyone wants to do that, definitely. But I think, I don't know, but personally, like if I'm reflecting on my own journeys, I've never had to have brain surgery. I've never been diagnosed with a chronic illness, but I think just because I've always been such an extrovert and I've always loved talking to people, I've actually heard lots of stories and been like really surprised. And the I don't want to be seen as dumb, you know? So for me, like if people tell me like, oh, like I have this or I have that and they look, normal or whatever,
Yeah.
that I try and take it on board, and I always try and bring it into any conversations or any new people that I meet because, like you said, we're all going through stuff, and yeah, and mind you, you're still kicking butt
Yeah,
at
still
your
here. We're doing things.
yeah. You are being an awesome community gamer, music girly, and yeah, like I think the flexibility of your work has been amazing. Like I'm sure the team has been like so supportive of you through this time.
Yeah.
Was there any like guilt for you behind some of the times where you haven't been able to work or haven't been
Yeah,
able
I
to
think
do your
definitely. I
best?
think for quite a long while, I felt like a burden on everyone around me. Like when you get really sick, like I wasn't me anymore for a while, you know, like before surgery, like mentally I was very bad, you know, physically I couldn't do much. Like I couldn't cook myself dinner anymore. Like I was having like, it was pretty rough beforehand. And then work wise, like I had only started this job in January and then found out I had to have surgery like a month or so later. And so like I felt
Yeah.
guilty because I was like, I've just started this job. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
what a way to start something. You're like, hello, I have to go get brain surgery. But the team, like, and I think that this is what I was saying about how like it's a space that everyone, I feel so comfortable in this space because having to go through something like that and having a team around me that work wise was so supportive. Like no questions asked. They were like, of course, take as much time as you need. Like when I came back into working, like my boss, Kelsey, shout out to Kelsey, made sure that like the tasks I did were very like simple to start off with because it takes a while for you to get your like brain back into gear post brain surgery.
Yeah.
So I like people would be talking to me and the end of the sentence, I was gone. I was not even listening anymore. I couldn't hold attention for long. So she made sure to give me tasks that were like simple and we worked up to things
Yeah.
and so in that respect, like I think it actually really helped bring my brain back on gear, like starting back up at work and ramping it up like that really helped my recovery and having people that are around me that I could chat to and talk to and the support. Not that I use them as therapy, obviously I have a therapist, but like having, you know, it's really important to have a support team of friends and family. And if your coworkers are also nice and supportive, it's just a beautiful environment to be in.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I
I felt
I
like I was in the best, like I felt like I was meant to be at this place to have my brain surgery, if that makes sense. Like
yeah.
it was a
Yeah, for
nice
sure.
environment. And you know, I gamed a lot. So when we're on a podcast about gaming, I played a lot of games. That was
Did
helpful.
Well, that yeah, definitely. So gaming is used as either like we see a lot of the time it's used like I know the Starlight Foundation has like a massive team of people that like run gaming inside hospitals for sick kids. But as an adult, like how did you find gaming helped you through your healing?
Yeah, I think when I first got diagnosed with the EDS and when we were like figuring out all the brain stuff, I was like the sickest that I was. I really got into using my Switch a lot more because I think people underestimate the like accessibility of a Nintendo Switch, honestly. Like because I
Mm,
have a PC set up and that's beautiful, but I couldn't sit up for long periods of time. And so being able to just lie in bed and play on my Switch, I got into a lot of like and also this is where my love for like cozy gaming grew because I couldn't take anything stressful would like spike my
yeah.
heart rate. Like I was such in fight or flight mode that I needed something that was chill. And so I couldn't even play the first Zelda game, like not the first, but the first one that like I was introduced with, which was Breath of the Wild. I couldn't play it because I was like that was too stressful. So that was like where I was at
Yeah.
with like emotionally. But I would sit in bed and I think the games that made the biggest impact on me and like were the most comforting to me at the time was Spiritfarer, which is still my favorite game. Um, what else did I play? I played Cozy Grove,
Okay.
um, Yonder, which is by another Australian studio that was really good. Stardew Valley.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm looking down because I'm trying to remember. What
That's okay.
else? Yeah, so those type of games I really relied on a lot because I think that the repetition in a lot of games where you're like farming or you're collecting resources, like I needed that stability too at that time. I
Mhm.
needed nothing stressful and I needed the stability and I could go into this world and I wasn't in my body or my world anymore. I was just here and I was collecting resources. I was running around. I was farming. Things were good and things were fine. And it really helped create the space in my brain to be relaxed, even though I couldn't like physically be super relaxed. I was still like, this is a safer space for me to be in right now than my own body. So that I think it really like it saved my life, I think, to be honest. Like I was really sorry. Oh my God, I didn't mean to cry.
Oh,
Sorry, I'm a big
honey.
crier.
It's
I say one
okay.
thing and then I'm like down the rabbit hole.
Big feelings.
Big feelings. It was a big year, but like, yeah, I think because it was a really rough time. Ooh,
Yeah.
sorry.
It's
Apologies.
okay. It's okay.
But yeah, I think gaming and like the community, people were so lovely and kind.
Hmm.
And it made a huge difference in my recovery too. Like I couldn't look at big bright screens for a long time, so I couldn't, do heaps of stuff. But I remember the first game I really got into after surgery was Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. And then having the experience beforehand, not being able to play Breath of the Wild, and then feeling stable enough. I know it sounds stupid to have that as my litmus test, but like feeling stable enough to be able to play Tears of the Kingdom, I was like, oh my God, I'm getting better. Like it was a weird way to like mark my health journey, but I was able to play games like Elden Ring, and you know what I mean? Like the better I got, the more stressful games I could play. I was like, it's working, like, so there's games I still play when I'm like feeling not great, and games that I play where I'm like, I can play them now. I can do the stressful things. And like, that's been a big deal for me to be able to recognize that, I'm here, I made it, and I can play the pew pew games, and I can play the resource collecting farming games.
I'd never thought of gaming as marking milestones of recovery. So yeah, I think definitely within the brain for sure, you would definitely see the progression. But yeah, that's actually really lovely, Sarah. Thank you for sharing that.
Of course. Thanks for listening. Sorry for having a little cry.
No,
I'm good now. It's gone. The cry's gone. It's left me.
Look, at the end of the day, I think people don't realize the sense of purpose that gaming can bring. And whether it is you are in those cozy worlds and you are like disassociating because you're in so much pain, or you have so many problems and you don't know what to do about them, you can't fix them, you're waiting for a surgery, or things like that, and there's nothing you can do about it. Like I can definitely say that gaming is something that gets a bad rap sometimes, but it's definitely healing for some people in their lives.
Incredibly so.
And I think it's important to really showcase that it's a wonderful thing, and the more that we talk about it, the more that people will realize, and the more people will, like yourself, will come out and say, you know what, I am so much better now, and my journey was made easier at times because I am a gamer.
Yeah. Well, I think gaming has, like I was saying before, like it's such a amalgamation of art and music and storytelling. Like it's the perfect way to help someone with healing, I think, because a lot of like mental healing and physical healing comes from participating in creating art, and playing games is like a way of participating in creating art. Like you're creating your own stories when you're playing games, and it's such an underestimated thing when it comes to healing. Like you were saying, like I don't know, it's just it can be a very peaceful and beautiful experience to help calm the brain down. So literally, definitely. I mean, after brain surgery.
Literally. And there's something else I wanted to say as well, and bravo to the team at League of Geeks, because I think having brain surgery, or like healing your brain, like whether it's mentally or physically, going back to everyday tasks that you have done in the past, but them knowing that you can't do them in the same capacity, I think it's actually so powerful for your journey as well. So shout out to you guys.
Shout out to League of Geeks. Shout out to Kelsey. Shout out to Shan and Mick, who just joined the publishing team. Sorry, I know I want to point them out and tell them that I appreciate them fine. And I love them. And what a job can sometimes be a job, but when it's like this, it feels like like a good way of living. You know what I mean? When you have people like this and people who are respectful of other people's humanity, like it's that simple. So shout out.
I think I was Kelsey, I'm going to take this moment to apologize to you, because I think I had too many Suntories, and I said to you, you look famous.
She does. She has a famous aura about it, doesn't she?
Yeah. I was like, oh my God, you look famous. And then I I realized later on who she was, and I was like, oh my God, what is
No, she
wrong
would have
with
loved
me?
that. She would have loved that. That's such a beautiful compliment to give someone. You look famous. You should never apologize for that. I think anyone would like love to hear that.
Because you know, we're gonna get into a little bit of like my like why, I suppose, for a moment. I know in myself, or this is like my own vision of myself, is I don't think that I'll ever be famous. But you know what? I would like to uplift people who I think are amazing in the space. You know what I mean? Like I feel like I'm good at like identifying who is good to have these conversations with and how to connect with them. But I don't think I'm particularly that person, if that makes sense. So I'm kind of at this like crossroad with myself. Like I don't think I look famous, but yeah, something
I
like
disagree. I think that
that.
well, no, not with the fact that I think you're great at doing exactly this, and that's the reason why you should be famous. Like the ability as an interviewer to like really draw out like the essence and the story from someone else should be worthy of attention just as much as the person being interviewed. Because I used to be an interviewer as well when I worked in music, and it's hard. Like it's a hard job, and people underestimate how tricky it is, like, to, like I said, be this level of extrovert and have these types of conversations with so many people and be open to listening to so many different people. Like I think that is definitely worthy of acknowledgement, and it's worthy of 1,000 billion people knowing who you are. So I think that you look and seem famous to me. So
Like,
I'm
share,
going to use that
subscribe.
as a compliment going forward to everyone. You look famous.
You look
It's so good.
well. Shout out to Kelsey.
Shout out to Kelsey.
And
Shout out to you as well.
shout out to you, Sarah. Thank you so much for
Thank you
being
for having
here.
me.
And
Thank you.
yeah, I honestly, every time I talk to people, I'm so blown away. And we love to see strong, amazing, unique women here at Confessions of a Gamer Girl, and you certainly embody all of those things. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me. This has been
You're welcome.
a beautiful chat. I've really appreciated you taking the time to listen to my puzzle stories and my brain hammock stories. So thank you.
That's what I'm gonna name this: Brain Hammocks and Puzzles with Sarah Wolfe.
That's the personality.
Tell everyone where they can find you and what you're going to be up to.
Yes. So you can find me on basically all social media as it's Sarah Wolfe. Wolfe like WOLFE. And I'm going to be probably releasing some music soon, hopefully. If I can get my act into gear. Again, I gave myself a little rest post surgery, but I'm riding a lot and I'm ready to start releasing stuff again. And work wise, I mean, you can play the Solemn Infernum demo now, I think, on Steam, if it'll still be up by the time this goes up. If not, hopefully the release when it comes out, and Jumplight Odyssey is in early access, so you can play that too now. So
amazing.
Play some games, listen to some music.
I will have all the links in the description to make it easy for you guys, because
that's famous activity of you, famous energy.
if there was a way to make it clickable on the screen, I would do that, but there isn't.
Click down.
So down below, and if you're on Spotify, it'll be in that description.
Oh yeah, that too. I am
as well. That is it.
Thank you so much for having me.
No, thank you. And we will see you, our listeners, on our live podcast this Saturday, which is going to be at the special time of 4 p.m. AEDT time. And we're going to have Fiamma on. Fiamma is lovely, red-headed Blizzard streamer. And yeah, she's had some also some health difficulties, so she'll be live with us with all the gang. And donate to our fundraiser, please, and be kind to one another. Catch ya. Bye.
Bye.